Hey, Tony Chips here, Chiappetta Shoes. This is a workshop live. Today we got a mess up foot, baby. We got an F20 post-tibia tendon disruption, major abduction. We got the right side, I'm showing you the left, but we got the right side crushing in. Forefoot splaying to the outside. It's really a mess. A lot of sloppy mobility to it. This customer's had an orthotic for about a year and a half. It's been doing great up until about a couple months ago when this ankle really started turning in. With this situation, we have an F20 medium forefoot varus, somewhere in the 15 to 20 degree range, extra large rear foot valgus, a lot of pronation and rotation internally on that heel bone. Navicular, first cuneiform dropping down. We got some friction in those areas on the orthotic itself. And forefoot is abducting like crazy. So it's a real sloppy situation. Now, luckily, the left side of this customer's column is a C14. It's healthy. It's feeling pretty good. The feet themselves are very different. When we see that, usually the first thing that comes to mind is a leg length discrepancy. In this case, when we have an F20, usually when there's a variance, we'll see a large reversal of the forefoot alignment. Being a C14, we're not worried about a leg length discrepancy. This customer has also been dealing with a significant scoliosis, or decent scoliosis for his whole life. So for today, we're looking at just refreshing the orthotics, but we're also going to bump up the scaphoid area, the medial arch. We're going to add a little bit of medial rear foot support, and then work on the forefoot as well, actually. So we're going to take the top down, talking about what we're going to do here. All right, so left foot is in good shape. We got a C14. We just wiped it down with a little bit of acetone. Always happy with that. All of our custom orthotics use a closed cell EVA foam for the top. Occasionally we'll get a little crazy and do something different, but like 95%, 99% of our custom orthotics have a closed cell EVA top cover. Now, closed cell EVA is really nice because we can heat it up in a way, clean it off with acetone, and then heat it up. And being closed cell responds to heat, so it kind of pops back open really nicely. We're giving this a nice blast. Now, left side again, we're happy. No modifications. We got a nice 4-layer custom orthotic. We're in pretty good shape here. Top foam is holding up nicely. Base cork is really good. This is J Cork from JMS Plastics. It's a cork and nylon combination, 65 diameter. Now, what we have here, we started with this right out of the gate. We have a rear foot and midfoot scaphoid wedge. We got a nice build-up. This is a 1/4 inch. Considering what we're dealing with, we are going to add another scaphoid pad for this customer in conjunction with what we have right here. And we're going to go 1/4 inch, same material. This is that J Cork. We're going to start it off with standard scaphoid pad placement. And I'm going to dial it in a little bit better. Standard scaphoid pad. It's going to start right past the 5th metatarsal base, distal from the 5th metatarsal base. If we're looking at more forefoot support, we're going to start it about 3/4 of the way from the proximal head or the base of the 5th metatarsal. If you really want to work on the rear foot, you're going to go at the 5th met base or behind it. Now, with this situation, I'm also going to be building up a little bit more support for the rear foot area here too. Now we're going to go with 1/8 of an inch. Typically when we're doing a modification, 3/8 of an inch is about the max you're going to want to add for any extra support. There's only so much space inside of the shoe, and we always have to respect fit. Okay, now we're also going to wrap this up on top. So we're going to start here. So we're bumping up the scaphoid correction to 1/4 of an inch. That's pretty significant. Typically we don't go that high, but we got a lot going on here. This customer is also going to be getting a triple arthrodesis sometime this year. Triple arthrodesis is the main correction for a fallen post-tibia tendon disruption, a fallen arch situation. That type of surgery is, I don't want to say common, but it's been done for such a long time that most doctors have the proper protocols in place to make sure that they get the surgery done right. So triple arthrodesis, for all the doctors that we deal with in our area, it's a common surgery that they do that does work very effectively for a significantly deteriorated fallen arch post-tibia tendon disruption. Now, what we're working with here, we have an extra scaphoid that we're building up. We are also going to be working on the forefoot because we have such a large abduction. The right toes are really splaying to the outside. The ankle's really in, the toes are way to the outside. I also want to work on helping keep the foot walk heel to toe nice and evenly. So we're going to be adding a lateral forefoot wedge. We're going to be using a 1/8 inch, 3mm, 55 durometer EVA. Whenever you're working on the forefoot, you have to be a little bit more conscious of what type of material you're working with and how thick we're going to go, because there's only so much space in the toe box. So with this, we'll have a total of about 7mm of space taking up. Now in the finishing process, I'm going to taper down the end of the toe. I don't want to take up too much space in the toe box. The main bulk of a forefoot wedge should be proximal to the metatarsal heads, so kind of starting behind the metatarsal heads, closer to the midfoot, and then through the metatarsal heads and into the toe crest. The toes themselves we can taper down really nicely. Now, I'm also going to be bumping up just on the bottom of the insert, the rear foot wedge. We have a 1/4 inch, we're going to bring that up to an 1/8 of an inch of extra material here. Got that glued up. And, all right. A little bit of art, a little bit of science. We're not going to wrap this. We're just going to give it extra bump from the bottom. Because this rear foot is really pronating in a lot, I'm going to do that. Okay. Perfecto. We got that glued up. We're going to take a little break, let this glue dry. We'll come back, we'll get it all together, and we'll do a final wrap up. Be right back. All right, we're back. That's Joe. Workshop Live, got F20 post-tibia tendon disruption, major pronation fallen arch, a lot of abduction on the right foot. Left foot's in good shape, C14, and we have some modifications. We're going to bring you back top down. We're going to get these glued on and wrapped up, baby. Okay, so when we're dealing with a situation like this, typically we want to give the foot a lot of stability as much as you can without overcorrecting a situation. In this case, started about 1.5 years ago, we had a nice 1/4 inch 65 durometer rear foot wedge and arch support. Wrapped up against the side, really holding the foot and stabilizing. It was doing a great job for a long time. Nothing major changed, no specific injury happened, but over time, this injury has continued to deteriorate, and it's fallen more and it's starting to hurt a lot more. So what we're doing today is we are working on continuing to stabilize. This right here is a 55 durometer EVA lateral 4-foot wedge. We're going to keep those toes off that big toe and hopefully stop the abduction too much. We don't want to open that knee up or open the hip up too much, and this should help guide the toes more evenly. Now we're also, on top of what we have, the thickness and materials have held up really well with the original piece. We're adding another 1/4 inch of a scaphoid pad. Now typically when we're dealing with a scaphoid pad, 3/8 of an inch is about max you want to go, especially using firmer material, like anything more than, I would say, 40 to 45 durometer. You can go super thick. If it's really soft, it's going to compress a lot. But this material really doesn't compress all that much. It's gonna impact the foot. Now we're working from the bottom of the orthotic, so we have a little bit more flexibility on how hard of a material we go. That's why we like making corrections on the bottom of the orthotic. So we're holding up the foot right in this zone here. Originally, right where the navicular is, I had that scooped out a little bit. We're gonna have to do that again. Make sure we're not putting too much pressure on those bony areas. There has been no extra callus formation in those spots, which is a good thing. And we're bringing up the lateral rear foot wedge to 3/8 of an inch. All right, so we got a lot going on here. Check that out. I'm gonna take this over to the grinder, and we're gonna get this all straightened out, and we'll take it back over here in a second. All right. Okay, so we're all wrapped up. If you look, we've got a nice 55 durometer EVA 4-foot wedge, 3 millimeter. Got a taper nice on the forefoot and toe area, taper in the bottom back area right here. We have an extra total max of a 1/2 inch scaphoid pad combined with 3/8 of an inch of a rear foot wedge. There's a lot going on here. Right where the navicular bone sits, we've got a little extra scooping in that area, and hopefully we're well on our way to really help stabilize and support this foot. This has been a Workshop Live. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget, ain't no better than Chiappetta. If you got foot problems, make sure to check us out. Chiappetta Shoes is your first step in solving foot pain. ChiappettaShoes.com, 2 P's, 2 T's. Don't forget about it. Ciao.